Welcome to the Momentum Lifestyle Project podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Ruse, and here at Momentum, we aim to challenge and champion committed men who are ready to take charge of their lives by mastering their mind, optimizing physical potential, and unlocking their power to find their mission. Whilst our work is predominantly with men, we hope that this podcast will provide value to all who choose to listen. So without further ado, let's jump in.
And a huge shout out to our first sponsor here, BeSpunki, the Australian men's health brand designed to support you to be the best you can be. Now, Blake Genoa and myself have been using this for quite some time now and absolutely love it. This product is something that we take every single day and drastically improves our training. But the one thing that I've noticed is my recovery time and the way that I feel the next day after training is so much better when I'm taking BeSpunki than when I'm not. And it is scientifically formulated to support optimum male hormone levels vital for strength, drive, and overall well-being. So big thanks to BeSpunki. You can find the link in the description below.
Today's guest is none other than the founder of BeSpunki, Shaun Sargent. Today we had a really great discussion around male hormones, the declining rates of testosterone in men, and it was really eye-opening for me just to have this conversation with him and a bit of a wake-up call for some of the habits and some of the things that I thought was healthy that actually have a pretty drastic impact on my testosterone levels and my hormones. And as we all know, how important testosterone is to us as men. And well, without going into too much detail, I'll let you guys enjoy this week's episode.
Shaun Sargent, how are you? Good, sir.
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Very well, thank you. As you can see, I'm in a jacket, mate, and I moved to Byron so that I didn't ever have to wear a jacket. And I'm just wondering what's going on at the moment today. It's a bit
20
cold.
20 degrees, eh? And
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. I very quickly have left the Melbourne in me behind and have just not been able to adapt to anything under 20 since getting here.
Yeah, I put my hoodie on just
Yeah.
so I was on a call this morning and I was like, shit. Man.
Yeah, I woke up and I couldn't believe how cold it was, and yeah, it's really not that cold at all considering I spent 5 years living in Melbourne and that was freezing, and you were in England for quite a while too, so you and I should be thriving in this weather.
Exactly.
Mate, thanks for taking the time to chat with us. We absolutely love what you are about, and we absolutely love what your brand BeSpunki is about. And I guess why don't we start there with BeSpunki and what drove you to start working in the male performance business, male hormone optimization business?
Shit, you said we've got about an hour and a half. That's like a 10-day conversation. I mean, it's quite an interesting thing, Dylan, really, because from an early age, I was always surrounded by strong men. So when I was 7 or 8, I would work with my dad in the hayfields in England. So went from driving the tractor, which for a 7-year-old is pretty fun, to forking the bales up. At the same time, I was doing schoolboy motocross. So I would earn my coin to do that every week. So it was like looking for this optimum to be the best I could be.
Mm.
Then about age 12, my dad did the best thing he could have done for me, took me to a gym, which was full of power lifters and things like that. So again, I was exposed to guys doing guy shit. I mean, I was never very good at soccer and we didn't play rugby. So I had to do something. So lifting was good. And then, that's been my life since that point. So fast forward to age 48, thinking, fuck, oh shit, I hope we can swear.
Mate, swear away. We love it. We love a F-bomb.
And it was talking with my wife, and I said, fucking getting up to 50, I still look through my eyes like I'm 15.
Yep.
I don't want to go like these old bastards, fucking walking around on a stick at 50 and fucking getting ready to jump in the box.
Yeah.
I want to thrive.
Mm.
So she said, well, stop moaning about it, do something about it. I'd not really ever heard about declining hormones or anything like that. So, to me, it was all news. What do I know about supplements, apart from I bought probably more supplements than anybody else on this planet over my time looking for that magic pill.
Yep.
But
a lot of wasted dollars there, I imagine.
A lot of really bright yellow piss.
Yep.
I mean, anything that was good, they banned. I mean, I used to love doing ephedrine. That was great. Go to the gym, whack to ephedrine and train like a demon. But no, that got banned because some fucking turkey in America took it, took 20 pills and died.
Oh, wow. Yep. That'll do it.
That's sad. But, I mean, shit, it says take 2 and you do 20.
Yeah.
So coming back to it, a chance meeting with a scientist for another project and got talking. She said, I'm an expert in male andropause. I said, okay, what's that? Oh, male aging, declining testosterone. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
So since that point, I've read as much as I can on the subject. I'm no expert, I'm no doctor, but what I do know and what I see is that guys aren't guys anymore. And it's what we're talking about with your colleague, Genoa, earlier in the week. You look at pictures of the soldiers in World War II, they were like chiseled guys. And that's before steroids, that's before Hitler invented steroids. You look at guys.
Hitler invented steroids.
Yeah. I mean, the steroids came out of the SS because they wanted to make their troops, more bigger, aggressive, stronger, recovery.
Really?
Yeah. So they'd been working with that sort of stuff, and then like everything got taken to the US and also the Soviet Union, and then it perpetuated up and blah blah blah. So it was like, okay, let's see how we can optimize hormones, because I'd like to look like the guys from 1945, not like the guys from 2020. Yeah. And that's a generalization, but that's the reality. So, there's no end of books out. I mean, I mentioned this to Genoa. Any of your guys should read this book.
Countdown by Shana Swan.
Yep. Get on the Joe Rogan podcast because he interviewed her. And his jaw just hit the deck when she was talking about what's going on. And, it's a big problem. So, to me, I want to be the best I can be. So how did I get into hormone optimization? Incredibly selfishly. And, I didn't want to do things by putting exogenous stuff in my body. I didn't want to whack in TRT, nothing wrong with it. Didn't want to do steroids, nothing wrong with it. Got plenty of mates who do it. Good luck to them. But I wanted to have a long-term benefit for myself.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, met this woman, decided.
And is that, from the steroid point of view, is that because there are risks associated with long-term steroid use, or it was a personal preference for you in terms of, well, I'd like to just develop a different way, or I guess what led you away from steroids?
This is going to sound really pathetic and weak, but my ex-wife.
Right.
When I was training in England, the gym I trained at was full of massive guys, good guys, still some of my best friends, but, nothing, didn't think twice about 3 or 4 jabs a week and a whole handful of tabs. And, you could open your briefcase up and pick what you wanted. And she put the fear of God into me, which, I've got to have one thing to be grateful to her about. It was like, oh, you don't know where they come from. You don't know what's in them. You don't know what they're going to do to you. And, I've had a couple of guys I know who died from steroids. Yeah. But they did stupid shit, like, 25 tabs a day of something that you have 1 tab a week. So it was really just, I'm quite cautious if what I'm putting in my body. I want to know that if it is what it is, then it is what it is. And since steroids have been made illegal in most countries for 20 or 30 years, and a lot of the stuff coming is counterfeit knockoffs from India, China, or wherever. How on earth do you know what you're putting in your body? So it's that sort of stance. I have nothing against them ethically.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, as I say, I've got a lot of mates who still take them. Good on them. If that's what they like, same with TRT. If that's what you like, that's good. It's about personal choice. But my personal choice is I want to know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I want to be the best I can be. And I'd like to, you know, be as fit as I can be, as opposed to always worrying about the what ifs.
Interesting. Very interesting. So from there, you then worked alongside this doctor that you met, and that was the stepping stone or the starting process to developing what the product is today, which is BeSpunki.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, basically, we were sitting around the table, and I said, with my wife Sam, to the doctor, if you were given free rein to create something that worked, what would it look like? And what you see is Reboot.
Yep.
So she'd done a lot of research for her PhD into the herbs that work, herbs that don't, human clinical trials. So we were very specific in it needed to be the exact ingredients, because, you know, herbs have a biosignature. So just because you have fenugreek from one country doesn't mean it will elicit the same effects on the body as fenugreek from another country.
Right.
So you've got to get it from a location specific. So we said to get the herbs in it that have been used in the clinical trials, and let's get it listed with the Australian Therapeutic Goods Administration so we can make the claims and it's controlled and regulated and so on. Because, you know, as I said to you, I've parted with more money than I can really count for stuff that didn't work.
Yep.
And that's on me, because I was looking for the magic pill. What, you know, we've created with Reboot is something that will support you on your journey, but it ain't no magic pill.
Yep.
And, you know, like, that's what I love about what you guys are doing, is it's not a magic pill.
Yep.
But you're giving the guys the tools to create the magic for themselves. And that's what we really sort of stand for with BeSpunki, is community, information, experience. And then at the end of it, if you want to buy the products, great. But if you've got what you need from the information and from the community, that's even better, really.
And so you mentioned that testosterone has severely dropped in amongst men. Men are no longer men, essentially. We don't look like it anyway. And what is causing that significant change in our hormones, in the way that men are showing up from a hormonal standpoint?
What's interesting is it's a twofold, two-pronged attack. So because of what our mothers put into their bodies when we're inside, that has an impact on us long term. So if they smoke, for instance, we're fucked.
Yep.
If we smoke, we're fucked, but it's reversible. So we're born on average with less testosterone. So the average 18-year-old now, I think, has got something like 25% less testosterone than his grandfather had at 18.
Wow.
So we're already starting from a low level. And this is all science papers. This isn't me making it's out there, it's evidence.
And are we able to increase those numbers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's say we start at a low level, and then, you know, obviously our levels go up, but then by the time we get to around 40, the levels start to decline. But if we're starting from a lower level, then there's also what is the curve, or what is the slope of the decline. And the decline now is faster. So it's a sharper decline in levels. It's about 1% per year now. So you're starting from a lower level, the decline's steeper, which is why, you know, I think in this book, you know, it's fascinating that 4 times as many guys are now turning to TRT in their 20s, 25 plus.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fucking frightening. That's really, really, really frightening. And so What's causing it? Well, environmental issues, plastic water, soy is a massive estrogen aspect.
I've just gotten off the soy milk lattes.
Great.
You'll be happy. I was on them for 3-4 years, so now I'm off them.
Fantastic. Well, hemp milk or macadamia milk, which you can make is fantastic if you've got to put the milk in there. There's farming practices. So, you talk about soy is bad for you, but then there's genetically modified soy, which is about 98% of all soy in the world.
Right.
Then, you've got people doing whey protein. Nothing wrong with whey protein. I've taken my fair share. However, whey was a byproduct created by advertising executives to help the dairy industry get rid of a waste product. Whey used to be a waste product. But
Right.
they got some guys to come to it and do some fancy advertising, and I was one of the first people on that bandwagon, But our farming practices now are pretty crap. They're jabbing the animals with antibiotics, steroids, growth hormones. The animals are eating bloody grass that's been sprayed, if they're lucky, with Roundup, which is a massive endocrine disruptor. So the short answer to it, Dylan, is we are, as humans, exposed to so many endocrine disruptors, endocrine being the hormone system, that our bodies are just highly toxic. So we're born with low levels or lower levels, and because of our daily life, there are so many different things that we're exposed to. The whole hormone system of the body's knackered. Good news is there's plenty that you can do about it: detoxing, fasting, infrared saunas, and. So there's a lot to be done. But who knows about this stuff?
Yeah. So what is the process then for all the guys listening, and even for myself? What's the process to go about making sure that we have healthy levels of testosterone? Do you recommend going and is there a test that you can do to see where your levels are at, if they're at a healthy level? And then what then if I find out that I do have low levels of testosterone?
Yeah, there's definitely tests. On our website, one of our ambassadors, who's an absolute legend, ex-Special Forces Major Heston Russell, he, every guy's idea of an action hero, went off, got his testosterone levels taken before he started our product, unbeknown to us, and was told he was borderline really low.
Yeah.
And then, he started changing things up, doing things up. And now he's got very healthy levels. And he's not the only one. There's a number of people on our testimonials who've had the same thing. So there is a test. I don't know what that test is. But, as well as looking for levels of testosterone, you should also look at levels of free testosterone, because people get hung up on, I've got a high testosterone level. But you need it to be free and circulating in the body to then get to the receptor sites where it needs to be. There's also another aspect to that, which is quite important. And this is where the toxins come in. Our hormone receptor sites will accept estrogen, testosterone, xenoestrogen, cortisol. So if you've got a lot of xenoestrogens from plastics or personal care products, they will attach to your hormone receptor sites. So it doesn't matter how much testosterone you got and how much free testosterone you've got. If it can't dock, the body will say, oh, you've got an excess of testosterone, we need to convert it, converts it to estradiol, bad shit, and, gets rid of it through the liver or through the gut. So, another issue is gut health, because if you've got bad gut health, then all of these waste products that the body's trying to get rid of go into your gut. You can't eliminate it, you reabsorb it. So,
Right.
it's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
So what can guys do? Get their free testosterone levels checked, get their testosterone levels checked, and then start about cleaning up life, which I know you guys talk about quite a lot in the courses that you do. It's really about eating healthy and being aware and not judging yourself either.
Yeah.
If you've beer is a massive estrogen mimicker. The old adage in England, brewers droop, wasn't just the fact that the guys in the hops who touched the hops couldn't get erections.
Right. Okay.
The women who worked in the hop fields would miscarry because their body was just producing way too much estrogen. So, like, as an example, I love a beer, but I'm aware that when I'm drinking it, it's not going to do my test levels that much good. So it's a really an informed choice. And that's what we say to most people is, if you want to do it, but just know
the impact it's having,
and the consequences of it.
Yep.
So, clean the diet up, clean your personal care products up, get a flask like that rather than a plastic bottle. I mean, plastics, I hope you haven't got any people who have these ready meals because, they get them, they're in a plastic tray, they put it in a microwave. I mean, fuck, that's about as much, PCBs and BPAs and all of these plastic derivatives as you can get. And we do it because it's convenient. And it's like, would you do it if you knew what it was actually doing to you?
So specifically, what it's doing to the body is, as you said, it is these microplastics are essentially blocking or overriding the body's ability to regulate testosterone, and it's saying you now are producing too much testosterone, so we're going to decrease the amount of testosterone the body makes. Is that, in layman's term, essentially what eating those ready-made plastic meals are doing?
Well, BPA, which is in a lot of the plastics, it's plasticizer, is a xenoestrogen. So the body doesn't recognize that as different to estrogen.
Right.
So it will attach to the receptor sites and block the receptor sites.
Okay.
In that, then the body's producing testosterone that can't dock. So it has to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Whether it recognizes it as too high or too low is not really relevant. It can't utilize it, so it goes through the detox pathways.
Gotcha. Okay. Understood. So what are some signs that someone may have low levels of testosterone? Are there any symptoms of that? Is it erectile dysfunction? Is it not getting morning wood when you're waking up? Like, what are the signs that guys can start to look for?
I mean, I think it's like the frog in the boiling pan. It's really tough to know.
Yeah.
Morning wood, erections, mood's massive. I mean, one of the main reasons they use testosterone in a lot of teams, whatever those teams might be, is for aggression. So there's a fine line between being over aggressive and just being positive.
Yeah.
And there's been a few studies that have linked depression with low testosterone. If you feel flat on a regular basis, you ain't waking up with an erection. You pretty flat and pissed off in life. You might want to go and have a look at what your levels are.
Interesting. So is it a case of understanding that the environment we're in is really not suited to human beings anymore, right? You mentioned just a couple of things, but in terms of, there are so many, listening to you now, it just seems like there are so many factors that are fighting against us in terms of being healthy men like our grandparents were from a testosterone level standpoint. Where can you start to clean up, and where can you just start to make one or two simple things that the majority of people are probably unaware of? So you mentioned beer. So is that a suggestion? You're like, make your own decision, but you might want to cut back on beer now because this is lowering your levels of testosterone. Stepping away from microwave, stepping away from these pre-made meals, those simple health practices that we all know, but we swap out for convenience, as you said. And I think too, the marketing teams behind these companies are saying, here's a healthy 30 grams of protein, 40 grams of carbs, 15 grams of fat. Here's a healthy meal that all you have to do is chuck in the microwave and it'll help you lose weight and you'll be healthier for it. But it's a lot deeper than that, isn't it, in terms of what it's actually doing to our health?
Mate, we're going to go down a really deep fucking rabbit hole. This one,
take me down there.
So for a period of time, I was vegan. And there's a number of reasons for that. And I felt good. You know, Sam's a great vegan chef. She did some really good meals, and that was great. And then I read an article about these meatless burgers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a study being done, which is because they're predominantly soy and a whole list of fucking chemicals, they're more estrogenic than you can ever hope for.
Right.
So, like, you're doing something, and this is what really pisses me off. And one of the reasons we try and be as good as we can be in BeSpunkies. If you want to go down to McDonald's and eat 3 burgers a day, I've got no problem with that. That's your choice, as long as you're aware of what it does to you.
Yep.
I love it, the odd fucking Big Mac, I've got to
Oh
say.
yeah.
After a night out,
Big Mac meal, mate.
go
Cure the hangover. Soak
Go
up that
for it.
alcohol.
Go for it. So I have no problem with it. It's just a choice. I know it's going to make me feel bad, but I'm already feeling bad because I've got that hangover. So, but if somebody wants to be fucking healthy, I think it's like the worst form of theft and lying, that you're convincing somebody to do something that you know isn't as healthy as it can be.
Yeah.
So let's eat this burger because it's better than meat. Well, it probably is better than meat in certain circumstances.
Yep.
Like if the beef's farm lotted, filled with antibiotics, you're probably not getting the meat anyway. It's probably some balls or ligaments or fucking ground brain, whatever. You know, as I say, I'm not against it. It's just, that's what it is. Now, is it better than that? More than likely. But you get a good fucking organic steak from a grass-reared cow. That's going to be better for you than that fucking super burger. And like with the farming, you do regenerative farming, it's better for you than cutting down most of the Amazon for fucking soy production.
Yeah.
So again, it's like, how far do you want to go with it? So you say, okay, the burger, you could cut that out. The beer, you could cut that out. Just make sure you know what your choices are with all of that, because you've really got to put the work in yourself. And you know, for us, it's trying to be as authentic as we can be to put people in the right direction so that they actually get the best results for themselves. So if it's beer, know what it is. If you like, you know, beef, make sure it's fucking pasture raised, Australian, blah, blah, blah. Just make sure it is the way that it is. Because I see a lot of guys really desire to clean themselves up and they get suckered in.
Yeah.
And then they get disheartened because nothing's working. And it's like,
I talk about that all the time in terms of just for the everyday man or woman going about health and nutrition now is so confusing, and it's a minefield. Go vegan this, go keto this, go do this other diet, fast between 8 p.m. and 12 p.m. You know, it's like so many different messaging and everything's contradicting the other one. Everyone's claiming to be the best. Everyone's saying the other one's worse for you. And like health is so, it's so complicated in terms of you've got, and this is generalizing, you've got PTs talking about being a calorie deficit to lose weight and you'll be healthy, right? Well, I could be in a calorie deficit eating McDonald's every day if I just plugged it into an app that told me how much it was, but I'm going to be a lot more unhealthy than someone who's in a calorie surplus, but eating, you know, salads and organic grass-fed beef. And they might be eating more food, but they're going to be, their gut biome and their microbiome is going to be 100 times healthier than me shoveling McDonald's in my mouth every day. And then take into account what we're talking about now, which is the body's hormonal system, you know, we have like, it is just such a complicated place to start saying this is what is healthy, because we're oftentimes, only looking at one thing, right? As you've just said, like, you know, eat these soy burgers because they're healthier for you than the meat that you're eating. But they're probably highlighting one aspect, cardiovascular disease, right? I know that's something that they love to, and lower rates of cancer potentially, right? But for most people, I would say what they're trying to do is trying to optimize their bodies so that they feel the best way possible, right? I want to be able to wake up, jump out of bed, do my morning routine, whatever my morning routine is, and then go to work and be able to work 8 hours a day, finish work, still have enough energy to go home to the missus or the kids, or go for a drink with my mate or dinner or whatever, and then get into bed and go to sleep straight away, right? That would be, if everyone could say, sign me up for that, they would. But it's such a complicated field because so many people are pulling everyone in different directions. And what you've said is, who has the most pulling power? These big companies with a crap load of marketing dollars behind them and trying to sell you their products, right? And so you then have to take into account that you're looking at, what would you say, decades of supplement companies, cutting corners, and decades of supplement companies selling supplements that are just turning their piss yellow, to use your example, right? So for you in that space too, integrity must be, and we obviously know each other pretty well now. I know integrity is important to you as a brand because it's important to you as a person. How do you navigate that space as a company?
Yeah, it's a challenge, Dylan, really, because there's always pressures. But I think my mum always used to have a saying: if you can look at yourself in the mirror in the evening and when you wake up, that's a good thing. And for me, I don't mind who I meet. I am who I am, and I'd like to be like that with our community. It's like, yeah, they've got my email. Yeah, they can give me a ring. I'll talk to them. Because I want to look them in the eye and say, we did the best we could do. And if it's not working for you, let's have a look at it. What's going on?
Yeah.
And with a lot of our guys who we work with, they're very big on the messaging. It's not a magic pill, but we want to make that little bit at the end as good as it can be.
Yeah.
So if we were just like any other, I don't want to bag out supplement companies because that's not what it's about, but it's like, we don't just want to be another, we want to be a point of difference. And that's why what you guys are doing, we align with so much, because you're giving people the tools to really be the best version of themselves. And we want to give our community the tools to be the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
So, things on nutrition, what we've just spent some time talking about, meditation, stress. One of the things we didn't get to, stress is a massive effect on testosterone. You think of our ancestors, they weren't thinking of fucking when the saber-toothed tiger was running after them. It's like, oh, we've got to go, fight or flight.
Yeah. And
that was good for them because the cortisol, the adrenaline, that was really great. But we live in a time of constant 24/7, 365 stress.
Yeah.
So our levels of stress, this is why people get burnout, their adrenals get burnt out. Well, if cortisol is present in a high enough level, testosterone can't work. Right. So again, meditate, relax. So everything that you're talking about in your groups is really important, because no amount of exogenous testosterone or, our pills or whatever will support you if you're stressed out your brain, because cortisol is the school bully. If it's present, testosterone can't work. So, again, to your point, we want to do the best we can do, because guys have a tough job.
Yeah.
And, I want to be able to look somebody in the eye and say, we did the best job we could do. And, did you do the best job you could do? If you can genuinely look at yourself and say you were ready and you did the best job, then great. And I've got to be able to sleep at night. So, maintaining that integrity, because if we don't, we're dead. Without integrity, what is there? There's nothing.
Yeah. And you mentioned cortisol. So does caffeine play a big role in society now in terms of raising cortisol levels and then blocking testosterones?
I mean, as I said, I'm no expert or no doctor. I only know what I know from my own experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I love a good coffee in the morning, quite honestly. But like, coffee is a massive misnomer. I was only thinking of this when you're talking about what people do to clean up.
Yep.
Coffee is one of the most heavily sprayed crops in the world. So if you're not drinking organic, you're putting a load of shit into your body.
Yeah.
And what I think is really fucking perverse, I've got to be careful I don't get sued by the fast food companies that drink them. But like those espresso things, you're
Yeah.
putting coffee in a plastic thing through steam.
Yeah.
And whenever we used to be traveling, I used to love these fucking things. I, empty
Yeah.
the hotel tops it up every day.
They're great.
How many can I have? 6 of those a day? Fucking
Yeah.
down. I really noticed, the difference. It was like, what's going on? Then think about it. You don't know what that coffee is, whether it's organic or not. You're putting it through plastic and foil.
Yeah.
Are you getting contaminated? I don't know. You think about the average guy who gets up, gets off to work, doesn't have time to make a coffee, nips into the coffee shop, gets his coffee with a soy in a plastic cup or one of those cups with a liner in.
Yep.
That's good. That's, you're fucking ticking all of the boxes there.
Yeah.
Soy milk, is it organic coffee, and what's going on in the cup. And if you want to really piss people off in the world, talk to them about coffee. The most fucking aggravation we get on our Facebook is about when we dare say anything about the hello coffee.
Yeah.
You can say beer, you can say beef, you mention coffee and you'll get a fucking queue of people.
Mate, don't mess with what gives me a kick in the morning, mate. Don't upset me when I'm already upset.
Yeah. And like, it's not cheap down here.
Yeah.
So
mate, $5 a coffee at the moment. I'm spending $16 a day on coffee or something like ridiculous. Which is why the Nespresso actually is a viable. I got an espresso machine in Hawaii when I moved there because I was spending $5-6 per coffee. I was like, I'm not spending this money. I'll spend $500 once, and then it's like 90 cents per coffee.
Yeah.
And I was like, perfect. Let me do that. So two things. One, why is testosterone so important, or why are optimizing our hormones something that we should be looking at from an everyday guy's standpoint, right?
Yeah.
And then two, what's like, I'm just sitting here going, what can I do? What is the checklist of things that, again, that I can start to go look at my day and go, okay, I need to step away from plastics. I need to step away from this. Okay. Keep cup with my coffee now, these small things, because how bad's the accumulation effect and like what are the things that we can actually do? It sounds like the environment is really like set up to not to sound like conspiracy theories, but we could go down that route if you'd like to, because I'm more than happy to. But it seems like society's set up to bring testosterone levels down. So yeah, I guess the first question is probably the one to start with, which is, why is our hormones so important, or specifically our testosterone for men?
Yeah, I mean, like, why the creator gave us testosterone, who knows? It's just an is thing. And it's what makes us unique. I mean, ladies have testosterone too, you know, and so there is a balance, but we have more of it, and that gives us our male characteristics. And I suspect in history, and if you look in the animal kingdom, the strong survive. And what makes you strong? Testosterone. Like the animals, only the strongest male can breed.
Yeah.
So we're not different. We're not dissimilar. So yet in our society, everybody can breed now. But in the past, it was the strong who were able to work. It was the strong who were able to fight.
Yeah.
So we're a legacy of our evolution. And so testosterone is important to us because it means we have a positive mood.
Yeah. It
means we can protect ourselves and our families. It means we can earn a living. It means we can procreate. And. So, why is it important? I mean, that's a pretty good list for me. The procreation and the protecting family are two big ones. And
and I think too, just from an observational point of view, I imagine if I was to walk down the street and pick 10 random guys off the street, or 10 guys that, okay, he's kind of slouched over and he looks a bit sad today, and he looks like he's got no fire in his belly, and there's a guy who's walking with purpose and striding. I imagine just from the visual, if I had to guess, low levels, solid levels, high levels, it would be a visible thing too, in terms of, again, back to the health side of things, obesity rates now 45, 50% across America, England, and Australia, right? And so people are incredibly unhealthy. And you also see mental illnesses skyrocketing, especially amongst men as well, but across all of society. So you've got an unhealthy society physically and mentally. And yeah, I imagine if I was to go out and try to guess where men's testosterone levels were, you could probably see it as a visible thing in terms of those guys that are lacking the, we talk about lead in the pencil, right? Yeah. If you lack the lead in the pencil, it's probably a case of losing some of that testosterone, losing that fire in the belly that you do need, as you just said, to go about your day and, from an evolutionary standpoint, continue spreading your genetic material into the world, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I think you're right. You would be able to spot them because they carry themselves well. They have their head up. They look at you. They're determined. There's a positivity around them, and so on and so on. We've all seen the guys who walk down the street who, obviously got something up their backside, and so there's a good and a bad side for high levels of testosterone. But generally, you're going to see who's on and who isn't. So, I think that's all pretty much of a given.
And what does it do to fertility rates and to that next generation? So one thing that I'm kind of thinking as you're speaking is, back thousands of years ago, even 1,000 years ago, right? Only the strong procreated, right? Only the strong were man enough to mate with the opposite sex, right? So you had pretty strong genetic pool, right? Now everyone can kind of go about their day to day, and you'll find someone else that will also, they'll go, okay, let's mate, let's have kids, let's get married, and let's do the family thing. So I imagine that every generation is getting worse and worse in terms of our just genetic potential. You mentioned 25% lower than our grandfather. That's 2 generations. That is not a long time.
Well, this is why this Shaun Swan book is really important reading for people. I mean, they did some research from 1973 to 2010, and sperm counts were 55% lower.
Wow.
So she's sort of saying, by this trajectory, by 2035, we won't be able to procreate naturally. And the increase in people needing TRT or
do you want to explain what TRT, or what is TRT?
So TRT is testosterone replacement therapy.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a shot of testosterone cyprinate from the doctor every 2 weeks, which actually in the Joe Rogan podcast, she explains, because Joe's like saying, oh, is that a big syringe? Like, obviously giving away how much he's using or whatever. And she's going, no. But like, the body's really clever, Dylan. You can't mess with the body. It's got a feedback loop. So if you go and jab a load of testosterone in your body, the markers in your body will say too much, get rid, convert, get rid. So it's ridiculous. So what she was saying is, shot every other day would be in order if you've got low testosterone.
Yeah.
However, from a procreation point of view, they found out quite a bit about testosterone replacement therapy, because when they gave it to guys in a test, they found that 90% of them became infertile because it stops the body making semen. Well, not semen, sperm. Sorry.
Sperm. Yep.
It's all within the book. If your network
amazing,
get the book. So it's like these guys are having TRT to help them, but they're not. It's not actually going to help the fertility. It was actually going to be used. I remember there was a lot of excitement in my gym with the guy saying it was going to be legal to get testosterone from the doctor as a birth control. So they're all going to be nipping down the doctor. You get all these 300-pound guys.
Yeah.
Going, oh, I don't want a baby. But
give me more muscle.
Yeah. So when you come to procreation, not only is testosterone levels dropping, but the sperm volume per ejaculation, the mobility and the health. So you've got three factors that are massively declining because of, she calls it these endocrine disrupting agents. So what's it going to look like in future? Well, it's like you'll be going to a little room like something out of 1984 or Brave New World, or I think there's a film, Children of Man, you know, where the population's infertile except for getting it out of an oven. You know, you go and pick your quality. I mean, now you're saying it's easier to get into Harvard than it is to become a sperm donor in California.
Because you need high quality sperm to be a sperm donor.
Yeah. And the number
it
of
is
people,
easier to get into Harvard than it is to be qualified as a sperm donor in California.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go figure.
Wow.
And like, you know, I remember, you know, 20 years ago, IVF was this thing that only a few people got. Now it's more common than ever.
Yep.
Because, you know, we're talking about men because it's a community of guys, but the women have just as many problems, you know, from hormones, from the endocrine disruptors, from egg numbers, from quality of eggs, from hormones. And, you know, just coming back to it, you talk about obesity, and that's a big issue. You know, the creator, when he created us, really had a play with the men's hormones, because we put on fat around the stomach. Yeah. And in that belly fat is an enzyme called aromatase. And this fucking stuff flies out around the body, and it's like Pac-Man. It goes after the testosterone, grabs it and converts it into estrogen. So like the more you've got around your stomach, the more Pac-Man you've got. So the more aromatase you've got. Wow. So, and then it comes to, you know, your junk food, that fat metabolism, fat storage is all linked to insulin. So when you've got insulin present, it's pushing things into the fat cells. When insulin's not present, the fat cells can break down, which is why the keto diet's so popular. So you think, you know, the guys are storing it there, the girls store it on their hips, aromatase, that's where it lives. So the more you've got, it's this bloody vicious cycle. And guys don't know about it. So we're fucked. I mean, we're not fucked. There's plenty to be able to do about it. But to somebody who doesn't know anything about it, it's like, why, you know, what's the middle-age spread? And what causes the middle-age spread more than anything? Stress. So what you guys are doing with the daily meditation, practice, journaling, the meditation, really important, because when we get the stress under control, a lot of really good things happen.
It's funny because I talk about it all the time, and you mentioned the magic pill, and I talk about there's no secrets. There's no secrets really. Like you want to live a long, happy, healthy life. The average Joe Blow could probably tell me. It's just they're not doing it, right? And these age-old, like meditation, for example, is thousands of years old. Like people have been doing it for thousands of years, right? I wonder why. So like you have to kind of take a leaf out of history's book and go, well, what's been a practice that's been around for a long time? Meditation, okay? Journaling or writing down your thoughts has been around now since we could write down what we're thinking, right? That was what the philosophers did in ancient Greek, was they were just writing down their thoughts, right? They just happened to have really profound thoughts and got famous 1,000 years later, right? But meditation, journaling, exercise, vitamin D, getting out into the sun, getting into nature, you know, getting a good sleep cycle, one of the most basic things that you can do that will drastically improve your health and increase your testosterone is get 9 hours of sleep a night. And I think I was listening to Joe Rogan, Matthew Walker podcast, and Matthew Walker is an expert in sleep. And he said, if you're getting less than 7 hours of night asleep, by the time you're 35 or 45, you'll have the testosterone levels of someone that is 10 years your senior. So if I'm 35 years old and I'm hustling and I'm grinding for work and I don't need any sleep. You get to 35 and you've got the testosterone levels of a 45-year-old. You get to 45, you 55. So just even the basic things of sleep, as I said, getting out into nature, all these things, there's no secret. There's no magic pill. You have to have that really good base to build off of. And then you can start looking for, kind of what you talked about. Like, then you start, cool, my sleep's down pat, I'm working out, I'm eating pretty healthy. Yeah, I love a beer here and there, but, I'm doing pretty well for myself. Cool. What's next is, and I can attest this because I've been using it now, but like for me, the biggest change that I've noticed since using your product Reboot was my training. My training is so much better and my recovery time is so much shorter, right? My body just feels better. And that's been the main difference that I've noticed using the products. I'm sure everyone has probably similar, but like varying degrees of success in using your product. And you touched on just at the end of what you were saying then is the average guy doesn't really have a clue of what to do, right? What are the solutions? What can we start to do?
Yeah, I mean, on our website, or when people sign up for our newsletter, we send top 10 tips, which is basically a lot of what we've talked about, but it's there in a usable form and just for you to tick off one or two, that's better than doing none, 3 or 4. If you can get the whole lot, that's great. What I would say is be mindful of what you do in your daily life and the impact that it has on you. Look to people like you guys for information. There's a lot of people out there. The internet's a good thing and a bad thing. There's a lot of dross out there, but also be mindful there's a lot of good stuff that you can find. So, you talk about Matthew Walker, Joe Rogan. There's a guy called Andrew Huberman who's absolutely fantastic. Great. David Sinclair, Shaun Swan. There's a lot of people now coming and talking our language. What I like about Andrew Huberman is he obviously trains. You could relate to him, I could relate to him. And he talks about stuff that's important to us. So find those people, find people such as you three guys and become part of that. Because one of the things you didn't mention that the ancients they used to sit together and chew the cud, have ideas, exchange ideas. I mean, how do we do that now? You're doing it. It's great what you're doing because coming together, 1 and 1 can equal 3.
Yeah.
But if we just sat alone thinking, what can we do? What's the fundamental issue with society at the moment is I want it now. Entitled. I'm entitled to it. I'm not going to put the fucking work in. I want it now. Our ambassadors work like fucking crazy to have what they have.
Yeah.
You guys train hard. You're the people you work with train hard. It's not, they're not afraid of the work. You've got to put the work in it. Like, life isn't a destination. It's a journey. Every moment of it is a fucking journey, is part of it. You're not going to, why would you want to get to the end? The gratification of doing something that's tough, far outweighs just
definitely
quick fix. So I would say go into your bathroom, look in your bathroom and look at your personal care products, because that's massive. Look at your water. Are you drinking plastic water? Look at your municipal water. I mean, it's quite interesting to me to hear and it's again proven in the science. There's a lot of these endocrine disruptors get into the municipal water supply. So, fish are having different breeding cycles. Frogs have got transgenitalia and all of this sort of stuff because the water goes.
The 3-eye fish from The Simpsons.
Yeah, all of it. If you want to know the future, watch The Simpsons. They're pretty good.
They are, aren't they?
So, but we drink that water.
Yeah.
And we think it's good. Oh, it's out the tap. It must be great. I've got a friend in Sydney who's very proud to drink his Sydney tap water. And I look at him and think, it's not, because they're not taking it out. Get a really good filter for your water and be mindful that you shower and wash in it. Do little things, take little steps, look at what you eat. Organic's not cheap. I get it. But support your local farmers, if that's something you can do. Even in Sydney, they've got the farmers markets.
Yeah.
Just be mindful if it's comes out of a convenience store, it's probably not going to be as good for you as if you get it from the bakery or the deli or the whatever.
Yep.
Just be really mindful. And I mean, I'm always happy to talk to people. As I say, I'm no expert, but I'm an expert in my life because I've made probably every fucking mistake possible.
Yep.
And if I can support people to do their journey, or if they go on the website or they come to what you guys are doing, that's actually 90% of the work done, because you've taken the steps for yourself to improve yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, it's great. Like, it's really interesting. And I love this topic around male hormones, because I'm someone similar to you where I'm constantly asking myself, well, how can I get the most out of myself? And how can I optimize my health? And more specifically, testosterone is something that is of high importance to me because of the linked benefits and the linked dangers of having high versus low levels of testosterone. And I think for me, one thing for me that scares me the most is I want to be a father one day, like I want to be able to procreate and carry on, and I want to pass on the best genes that I possibly can, right? I don't want to have my kid starting off with a 25% deficit, right? I want him to be like, coming out testosterone monster, whatever, right? Like jacked up or whatever. So it is a really interesting conversation. And with all the conversations going on, it's one that can be lost. And as we've just discussed over the last 45 minutes or so, it's a pretty important conversation to be having for men's health and for health in general. And I don't think we're having it enough, to be honest. And I don't think there are enough solutions out there that are really practical and not necessarily easy, because as you said, and as we agree with, and as what we talk about here at Momentum, is it does take hard work. It does take you stepping up and looking at the man in the mirror and going, okay, what areas of my life can I improve upon? And how can I start to make small changes? You don't have to hit a home run straight away, or you don't have to, make massive drastic changes, but how can you just start to implement small little changes? How can I swap the beer for whiskey, right? Like,
vodka's good, mate. Vodka's great.
Vodka, right?
There's a great brand in the States called Muscle Vodka.
Yep.
And that's because it's got very little in the way of sugar. I'm not advocating drinking too much, drink responsibly. Yep. I think one of the things that really resonates with what you say, Dylan, is it's like nobody wants to be made wrong or less than. And so, like with testosterone, I remember when we started the brand, people say, oh, well, I don't need it. My testosterone's fine. It's like, great. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But you can't lie to yourself. You might be able to bullshit everybody else.
Yeah.
But wake the fuck up, and that's what I really love about Momentum is your community of guys who have woken up and said, no, there's nothing wrong with me. I just want to be better. Yeah. And I think that's a really fantastic thing that you're doing. And it's the same with testosterone. You are where you are. But like satellite navigation, if I'm in Byron and I want to go to Sydney and I say, well, I'm actually in fucking Dubbo, it's going to be a long way to Sydney, isn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah.
You don't know where you are. So your point about blood tests and stuff like that, I think is great. But you don't need those. You know yourself. Are you fucking on? Are you really as good as you can be? You can say to yourself, honestly, yes, move on, nothing to see here. If you go, oh, actually, I'm a bit stiff when I get out of bed and not in the right places, or I'm not fucking training with the intensity that I did, or, I don't quite, okay.
I don't feel like I used to feel, and
you've taken the first step. Now get on to Momentum.
Yeah.
And fucking start.
Yeah, exactly. Get on to us.
Other guys, who do want to be the best they can be, who are prepared to put the work in. And, what I said to Genoa the other day, and I truly, stick with it, is like you guys and us, we're like somebody's best mate. It's like, if you fall down, we'll give you a hand up, but we're not going to fucking carry you.
We'll
with you. We'll do the journey with you, but you got to fucking do the journey.
100%. It's one of our biggest creeds is champion and challenge you to be the best version of yourself, right? We're going to champion you, we're going to support you, but we're also going to challenge the fuck out of you, because it needs to. And Blake talks about it quite often in terms of like surrounding yourself with friends that just allow you to live in your own delusion. And it's like, they're not your friends.
Yeah.
They're not people that you want in your life. You don't want to be continually fucking up and your mate's just going, oh mate, it's not you, it's the world's against you, right? They're not good friends, you know. But the friends that go, mate, I'm here for you, but also that's on you. Like, take some responsibility for your life and start to change, right? You've and something that we see so frequently with men, and we love working with men. That's why we're working with men. But there's that extra resistance, extra bit of ego around, I've got it sorted, I can do it, and maintaining the path that they're on, rather than having that awareness of, actually, this path that I've been on for 6 months now, and I haven't seen any sort of change. I should probably take a different path, right? And I've experienced it myself. I know Blake's experienced. I know Genoa's experienced it. Even just yesterday, yeah, I'm sure you've experienced it, right? Where you think you know better. Even yesterday, we do what's called we do a win challenge lesson every week in terms of our weekly meeting internally. So we share to build culture and to maintain our friendship whilst building a business together. So we talk about our wins. So this week, my win was blah, blah, blah. My challenge was blah, blah, blah. My lesson was blah, blah, blah. And Genoa shared his, and he's, you know, and we all talk about it openly, where we get coaches on board for the stuff that we're working through, right? How can we encourage other men to work on themselves if we're not constantly working on ourselves as well? We don't have our shit sorted by a long shot, right? But it reminded me, it was like, actually, I need to step up here and I need to go and start working with someone, because, yeah, I've been walking down this path now for 6 months and I haven't gotten anywhere with this path. So it's time to bring in someone else that can take me down a different path and show me that, yeah, actually, in 2 weeks' time, or in one coaching session, or in whatever amount of time, you'll be feeling a lot better. And for me, that's the end goal. I want to be the best version of everything. I want to be the best version of myself. I don't care if it's me by myself or it's me surrounded by 5 or 6 of the best coaches in the world. At the end of the day, I'd rather just be the guy that's getting to that outcome of feeling better, feeling my best, dropping the ego of I need to do it myself and I've got all the answers, and just going, no, actually, I had a shitload of help along the way, but I'm here. And I look at the guys that are not there and they're kind of banging their head against the wall. And it's like, dude, if you just take one step back and turn around and have someone, you know, hold your hand and walk you this way, you're going to go around that wall like that, like so easily. And it is interesting that just a lot of people, but I think men kind of struggle with that ego piece of going, actually, I probably just need some help here, and I'd get over this inconvenience quite quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it must be something in the genetics, because, you know, we're trained that we have to be the strong ones. Yeah, I can definitely tell you, in my situation, my wife is a lot stronger than me, and, you know, it was a big part of life being able to actually accept help from anyone, let alone, you know, this is sexist, a woman, you know. But fuck, you know, she challenges, she puts the mirror in front in a really, really, really good way.
Yeah.
So it was a huge lesson for me to learn to be vulnerable, learn to say, I don't have the answers, learn to say, can you help me? And can you show me? Because, as you know, everybody who does anything has a coach.
Yeah. And I on that piece too, I try to surround myself with, you know, just beautiful, strong people. And I've got some amazingly strong, independent women in my life. And they constantly telling me, like, Dylan, like, these guys, they're intimidated by me, or they're, you know, they just back away. And it's, once you get into a relationship where you are challenged, you have one or two options. You rise to the challenge, or you go and you make some excuse, or potentially you just say, hey, I'm not ready for this challenge and I'm off, and you take ownership, but you leave. But a lot of guys, are really stepping away from the challenge. They're not stepping up to the challenge. The rise in the man child, or the, is huge. It's rife right now, where, they just get challenged by these women who know what they want. They're driven, they're intelligent. Don't get me wrong, they're soft and they're feminine as well, but they're just going, no, that's not for me. And they're walking away. And it's like, yeah, like, get challenged and step up. Like, go, keep going. Like, and everyone's on their journey. And I'll be the first one to say I have walked away from that challenge many times. Many times have I walked away from that challenge, because it's confronting and it's scary, and it's that mirror of going, hey, here's all your shit that you need to work on. And, I know from personal experience, again, no, thank you. I'm good.
And I think what I like with the three of you guys is you've got each other's backs. And, I think in this time where you've been shown the mirror, you've got that confrontation within yourself to feel that loving, nurturing kindness of whoever it is, male or female, it doesn't matter, is that it's a safe space. And that's what I love about your community, is creating a safe space so guys can actually do it. Because, I mean, you said you've walked away from it. I've walked away from it. I've been conned into being vulnerable only to be fucking slapped with
swept
it.
at the knees. Yeah.
When you get to that, you get, no. So, I'm fortunate in my situation. I really love how you guys deal with each other, because you grow by growing individually together. And I think that synergy of the groups is fantastic. And that's what we need, because the chicks have got it well sorted. They've had these chick groups for ages.
Yeah.
And we've been left behind because we're the strong men and we don't need that bullshit. And it's like, no, we actually do need it. And it's bullshit. And it's not a sign of weakness to actually cry. It's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness to say, mate, what are you doing? But we still are that ape man. If I ask you, I'm less than you. It's like, it's not about that. It's like, let's rise together.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing a great job at getting that out. So
one thing too that we probably don't talk enough about either, but it's fun. Like, it's actually fun to do this work with other men and with other people around you also doing the work, because we've had to do it alone. And that's great because you're doing it alone, but it's a bit lonely, and it's nowhere near as fun as doing it with another group of people that are on the same journey. Last night we had our mentorship call. We've got like 3 or 4 demon supporters in this intake, and they had a big win on the weekend. And so one of the guys runs off camera for a little bit and comes back on wearing a Demons jersey, and we're joking around and laughing. And it's like, we're having very serious conversations, but it's fun too. Like, there is that element of like making it appealing, and it's also why, we have to have great brand ambassadors, as from a business point of view. But like, you look at the guys that you've brought on and the guys that we're bringing on with the brand ambassadors, it's like, these are men that, I want to be like Heston. I want to be like Matty. I want to be like Pete Day. I want to be like Dave Harvey. These guys are like, I want to be like them. They're fucking, look at those blokes. Like, they've got their shit together. And two, with having worked closely with a couple of them, it's like, it's not all about the 6 packs and the thing. It's more like, wow, there's a guy that's got a really solid routine, that has a wife, a couple kids, maintains that solid routine, works every day, provides, is healthy. Wow, okay, shit, how can I be more like him?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the whole 360 picture.
I love Dave's vlog where he's talking about it. I thought that just epitomized what momentum's about. So you've got this legend, and I'm really looking forward to the event where you got, Dave, Maddie, Pete, and all of that, because they are legends. I mean, everyone looks at Pete, thinks, oh yeah, he's just this. He's like, no, he's 3-time world playoff champ. He's from a corporate background. He's fucking switched on. He's got X number of businesses, and he still looks that way. Foxy's a dad, doing that. It's like, good on you.
Yeah.
But I think one of the bits that you mentioned there, which is really important, I think the Buddha said it, is, happiness is the way. There's no way to happiness.
Yeah.
And, if it's not fun, why the fuck are you going to do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hard work doesn't mean it has to be miserable.
Yeah.
We're not sackcloth and ashes whipping ourselves. Oh,
Yeah.
Why would you do something that isn't fun? If it's not fun, find something that is, and put the work in something that is fun.
Definitely, mate. 100%. And yeah, we're looking forward. We can't wait to that event. We'll actually put the event details and event description into the podcast notes, guys. So everyone listening, September 16th, men's reboot event, BeSpunki and Momentum. And it's going to be an awesome, I believe it's a Thursday night, is the 16th of September. So your information will be in the notes for anyone that's interested. Shaun, mate, thank you so much for your time. It's great chatting all things men's health. Absolutely loved it. And yeah, thank you for your time.
The trouble with you guys is it's such good fun that we could go all day. So thank you for that. And I hope people find, it useful. And if they want anything, I'm here. Drop me a mail, drop you guys a mail. You can forward it on. Awesome. I'm no expert, but I've made plenty of mistakes.
Amazing. Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Take it easy, Dill.